Namaste. In Vedanta, there are fundamental concepts that often confuse people, particularly when it comes to understanding the nature of the self, Atman, the all-pervading consciousness, Brahman, and the idea of rebirth. This presentation aims to clarify these concepts using simple analogies and to help people better grasp the true essence of existence. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita explains that Brahman, the ultimate reality, is the all-pervading truth and is indivisible. It is not limited by physical boundaries or distinctions that we perceive in the material world. The Jivatma, the individual self, is fundamentally the same as Brahman or Paramatma, though it appears separate due to the limitations of human perception and the influence of ignorance or illusion known as avidya. To understand this, think of Brahman as the ocean, vast and unchanging. The Jivatma, the perceived individual self, is like a wave on the ocean, seemingly distinct but fundamentally made of the same substance. Just as the wave is not separate from the ocean, the Jivatma is, in fact, Atman, which is not separate from Brahman. Rebirth, a misunderstood concept. One of the most common misconceptions in various traditions is the concept of rebirth. When people talk about rebirth, the fundamental question I ask is, who is it that is being reborn? Seeking the answer to this question can end in clarity regarding the idea of rebirth. It is essential to comprehend the nature of consciousness. In Vedanta, the idea of rebirth does not imply the continuation of a personal self or identity. With the physical death of a person, that identity is gone forever. But it points to the ongoing cycle of life and death that unfolds every moment. Each moment we survive is a kind of rebirth, where our thoughts, actions, and decisions carry over from the past into the present. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita refers to this cyclical nature of manifestation and dissolution of physical beings. Remember that in Shloka 223, Krishna says that the Atman cannot be cut, and in Shloka 224 he says that the Atman is eternal and has been there forever. When we look at life through this lens, it becomes clear that we are reborn with every passing moment. Our minds, thoughts, and passions are carried forward from the previous moment, and they influence how we live and behave in the next. The nature of rebirth and the purpose of life. Many people wonder, if there is no rebirth of the individual self, then what is the purpose of life? However, the very fact that you ask what is the purpose of life is an arrogant statement. What about the purpose of all those millions of animals being slaughtered every day? When the same truth exists everywhere, why do people think only about their purpose? What about the purpose of all those poor innocent children suffering in penury? What about those children, women, and old people who die in suffering wars caused by megalomaniacal powers? Brahman exists equally in all beings, as the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Shloka 1327 or 28 in some edition states. The person who truly sees is the one who sees the Paramatma or the Supreme Self existing equally in all beings, that which is unperishing within the perishing. The deeper question is about the nature of existence itself. As I said earlier, if you ask about rebirth, my first question would be the rebirth of whom? Who is being reborn? If you thought that there was some spirit or ghost-like being, as shown in some horror films, that moves in and out of bodies, you can be sure that although it surely sounds fascinating, such an idea has nothing to do with Vedanta. This brings to mind the analogy of the sky, which does not and cannot move because it is a static, all-pervading and ever-present entity. Similarly, we are the ever-present Brahman, and we do not move or change in the way that our physical bodies and minds do. The notion of rebirth, as assumed by many, implies that something separate moves in and out of physical bodies, but in reality, what is born and what dies is simply the temporary manifestation of our body and mind, driven by the gunas or qualities and external conditions. The truth behind rebirth. This idea of cyclical existence is greatly misunderstood. In Shloka 5.14 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "The soul, or self, which is the master of the body, does not create activities nor fruit of actions. All the actions are produced by the gunas, or the three kinds of nature." If we are to consider rebirth, it is not of a specific individual self or person. For example, if a newborn baby shows traits of his or her grandparents or granduncle, it's called genetics. To sum it up, rebirth in a true sense is a constant process that occurs every moment. We are always subject to life and death, aren't we? Though many of us take life for granted, we cannot deny that every moment carries inherent risks from pathogens, accidents, and numerous other factors that could end our lives anytime. However, as long as we are still breathing, we are essentially experiencing continuous rebirth. We are reborn in each moment, carrying forward our thoughts, emotions, and actions from the previous moment. Living a clean, karma-free life. The key to a fulfilling life lies in how we live these moments. If we maintain a clean, karma-free life, each moment of rebirth offers us the opportunity to grow, evolve, and live even more meaningfully. By aligning ourselves with the truth of non-duality, we can experience an enriching and fulfilling existence where we are absolutely free of fears and other negative emotions. Our thoughts and actions would be guided by wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Let's wrap it up. The idea of rebirth, as often understood in religious traditions, is a misunderstanding. There is no separate self that reincarnates. Rather, we are all expressions of the same universal consciousness, and every moment is an opportunity for renewal. By understanding the nature of Brahman and Atman, we can see that life and death are part of the same eternal process. Embrace the present, live without attachment to the past, and let each moment be a chance for spiritual evolution. Thank you. Stay blessed. Jai Shri Krishna.